Oh, he's calling it. Oh, let's take a live call. Let's see it. Just as we started. Here we go. Hopefully, you guys can hear this on Zoom, but not always. But this is the rule. We always take live calls on the BrainBox. This is the guy I was just talking about. It's a great day at Oakland Notary. This is Alex. What document can we help you with?
Like this again. So anyway, it's all done, and I told them to come to the Black Bear Diner, which I'm at right now, but it's no longer the Black Bear Diner. It's closed.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how to fix this. I'm sitting here in the parking lot. So is there a way to fix that and send them? I mean, there's a Concentra urgent care.
Okay,
right
so
here.
good question.
What it is, 333 Hagenberger.
So thanks for calling and updating. What I'll do is update the notary and tell them your new location. All right. And then if something else changes, just call and then we'll give an update. But yeah, feel free to just walk to the next location and then the notary will give you an update once they arrive.
All right. That sounds good.
My pleasure. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your morning.
They going to be just in a regular car? Or they got like a van that says something or what?
Oh, yeah, good question. So the notary's name is Jose, and I'm not sure if he'll be in a Lamborghini or if he'll be in a Rolls Royce.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Hopefully the Rolls Royce, because if I'm going to sit in back, Lamborghini have tight back there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you sound like a tall guy. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
My God. So did you guys catch that?
Yes, we did. Lamborghini or Rolls Royce, huh?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you shot for the moon on that one.
Tiger, like you always say, don't you always have to go over the top sometime?
Yeah.
Man, you got to hit him over the head sometimes. Pattern disruption. Yeah. So the situation, just briefly, he called. This is the third time I spoke with him this morning. He called and he said that he's at the airport and he wasn't sure if he needed to come to me, like come to our location, because we have a location on Hagenberger, even though it's not really a location, it's just an address. No one's there, nobody's there. But he said he wants to come to the Hagenberger location, which is like 2, 3, 4 minutes down the road from the airport. So I said, no, we don't have a location. We come to you. We'll come to the airport. Just tell us, where you are and be as clear as possible. And he said, okay, well, I have this document that needs to be signed. And it's regarding a deed. I've got some siblings. My dad's trying to sell his house and he's got our names on the deed. My cousins and my sisters, they're all signed it. I need to sign it. And I need to get on a plane to Chicago, matter of fact. He said that. And I said, okay, all right. So here's the next step. And like he sold himself. I didn't say anything. He told me all the information. He told me his location. He told me where he, what time he needs it. Because he said, well, can I get it done in the next half an hour? Because I have a flight to catch. I said, yes, we see appointments as early as half an hour. Just exactly what he just said. All I'm doing is just repeating exactly what he said. Yeah, we see appointments as early as half an hour. And the next available is actually 9:15 and there's a 10 o'clock. So I that's give him the 3 different options. So he said, yeah, 8:45 is fine. How much? Right? How much is it going to cost? Because he's like, I can come to you if it's cheaper. And I said, you can't come to us. we come to you. All the clients feel is easier, it's much more convenient if we come to you. He says, well, the notaries don't have to park, won't they? And I say, well, yeah, they will, but my recommendation, be as clear as the easiest thing, just tell us exactly where you are, the door number, the terminal number, and the notary will find you. So he says, well, I don't want to inconvenience you and do all this stuff. So I'll just go to the Black Bear Diner that's down this road. I said, no problem. Just tell us your location. The notary will meet you there, but you have to first tell us. So anyway, he finally tells us, I'll be at the Black Bear Diner. And I tell him, okay, so it's, it's $117. And that's when I was talking about, he thought it was, so that's why he called back and he says, there's a question on the intake form that asks about real estate. And I just want to make sure that you guys can help me. And I say, yes, are you selling a home or are you closing on a home? He's like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to get my name off the deed with my siblings. I say, okay, so that question does not apply. Feel free to proceed. He says, okay. And now he gets to the Blackberry Diner, and I knew it was closed, but that doesn't mean we can't help him. It's just that the diner is closed, so that's okay. So he goes there, then that's when he calls back and says, "Oh, I see that it's closed. Can the notary still help?" Oh, yeah, we can still help you, man. You don't have to go inside the diner. We'll just meet you there. And but there's an urgent care next door. I guess he's gonna go across the street. So I'm gonna text the notary right now and just tell him to go to the 330 Heckenberger. That's all. That's it. So you don't, all the work, it's not very difficult because they need this at the end of the day. It's just really all you're doing is no different than if you were meeting your friend for coffee. Where are we going to meet, James? Where are we going to meet, Tiger? Okay, we're going to go to Starbucks. All right. What time? 10:30 or 11? 11. Okay. It's no different than that. You don't have to be an expert on the documents. I don't know what he's signing. I really don't. It's really none of my business. It's his business. Yeah.
Do you feel that sometimes a potential client may feel better if they come to your office, like it seems more official to them or something like that?
That's a good question. I think people do that. I think some people may feel like that, but I think the majority of people, they say that because it's cheaper.
True. Okay.
I think it's all related to cost. And they have the money. I know they do. I know they do. Everybody has the money. Because notary is a money product. You don't you're selling a home. Real estate, come on. I know you have the money. It's not a matter of, can I get it for as cheap as possible? And now I think that there are people who, for example, it's the end of the school year. So a lot of kids, they travel out of the country, especially in California, because there's the immigrant population. So people will go out of the country and then they go see their parents or grandparents. So they say, "Oh, I didn't realize that I need a minor travel consent form to send my son, with my baby daddy or my baby mama, because that happens all the time, to go to Mexico." Yeah, you can't just take a kid out of the country. That's immigration right there. That's
Honestly, I
real.
never would have thought about that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's real serious. Yeah, immigration is no joke. It is nothing to play with. So you cannot just take a kid to the airport and say, they're like, who is this kid? Like you show up to the airport with this underage child and they're like, who is this child? Do you have any paperwork on this child? They're like, no, you're not taking this kid anywhere. I'm sorry. So you need some paperwork and you need to go get it notarized. All right, that was fun. That was unscripted too. So let's go. All right, let's get going. The reason you should pay for clients. Um, the reason you should always pay for clients, or you should be open to doing it. I'm going to make a case for paying for clients. All right. There's a problem that we have. It's too many uninvited guests. You ever be at home and just your door keep it's Saturday afternoon, minding your business, people are just knocking at your door. That's not good because they're disrupting your afternoon, your morning. Now, the nice thing is that if you are expecting somebody to come, then and they knock on the door, that's fine. That's very pleasant. But we don't want uninvited people to continuously knock on our door. Yep. So he's got it. Yep. Yep. All good. So you're good. And by the way, I'm out of state. I'm not even in California right now. So that's the beauty of this having a notary agency. You don't even have to be there. You still operate this thing. So the point is when you have too many people, you want the right people to knock on your door. That's always very nice. You want people that you expect, and you want people when they come, you want to anticipate it. You don't want just these random people kicking your tires and asking random questions and disrupting you, because that's what happens when you get an influx of notary calls or people who say, oh, that costs too much. That's too expensive, or what you offer is not what I'm looking for. That's a waste of your time. When you pay for clients and you can target the right people, every single person becomes your client. So that the more people who come to your door, the more people who knock on your office door, they call you. This is basically the analogy I'm trying to use. The better. That means every person who calls, no matter where they are, as long as they are looking for a notary, you can help them. How would you like it if more of those people called you? Well, that's what advertising is. You get the opportunity to get in front of somebody so that they can come to you, so they can not you let them, be aware of your service or your product, and then they come, and then you service them, you help them. The way you do that is the way you can quickly identify these people is if they say yes. So you have a set of qualifying questions. And these questions are not very difficult. It's basically, do you have ID? And they say yes or no. Most adults have ID. If for some reason an adult does not have an ID, then you should be suspicious of that person. Not saying that they're doing anything illegal, but they should, for the most part, overwhelmingly say yes, right? So that's an easy question so that you can easily help them. The other question is, where are you? Because I have to physically get to you. I have to be able to get to you. Now, I'm in Colorado right now, so I'm actually not even in California, but I can get someone to get to this person, right? I just, call up a notary who's nearby, and then they can actually access the person. But there's other situations, like let's say if they were in a correctional facility, you may not be able to access them, not immediately. And then there's other times where you may have notaries who may be unwilling to travel to different places. It may be at a certain time of night or evening. So that can still disqualify the client. So number one, they must have ID. And then secondly, you must be able to access them, or they can be able to access you. So that's how you can easily find somebody who really wants you, or you can help the people who really need you. But you have to qualify them first. Do with excellence what the customer loves. You'll never go wrong. Do with excellence what the customer loves, and you'll continuously have an influx of business. Customers love really just one thing, and I'm talking specifically about notary customers. They only want one thing, and we know what that is? They want a signature and they want a stamp. That's all they want. They don't want you to break down their deed of trust. They don't want you to break down their legal agreement with their business partner. They don't want you to break down the intricacies of their gun permit. They don't want you to review their adoption paperwork. They don't want you to do any of that. They want you to stamp their document and sign it. That's it. Very, very simple. Very, very straightforward. Don't ever, ever forget that. The moment you start explaining stuff and breaking down documents, you're going to lose more clients. No need to explain to people how smart you are. We already know you're smart. We trust me. If you're here and you're a notary, we know you're smart for most part, right? You're definitely an intelligent person, but don't get cute. All right, just sign it and stamp it and get out of their house, because that's all they want. So do that with excellence. Customers going to continuously come. They're going to continuously refer you out to their business partners. Tell you how convenient you were, how quick and how efficient you were. That's all they want. So continuously do that. Now that we know what the customer wants, it's time to set up the infrastructure or the apparatus that provides it. Now, are you set up to provide it? Can you actually give the customer a signature and a stamp? Well, yeah, you can. Do you have a phone? There you go. All the technology and all the equipment and all the automations and the voice responses and calendars and all that stuff. That is really what makes that's what removes you from the day-to-day so that you can be more efficient at the vision. So you having all those fancy gadgets and stuff, it's not necessary. I don't need all that stuff. You can still take notes on a piece of paper. It's, are you set up to provide it? Are you in the right mindset to say, I'm not going to overthink this and over intellectualize this? The customer wants a signature stamp. Can I give it to them? Yes. So just like we said, all you're doing is setting up a meeting between a friend and another friend. You're just coordinating a coffee meeting between two people. They're only going to be together for like 10 minutes, maybe half an hour at the most, if you're very efficient. And all you're doing is setting up that connection. That's it. So are you set up to provide it mentally? Yeah, you can. You maybe not at first, but you can absolutely be trained and learn to provide that signature on the stamp. That's it. That's all it is. Now, so today, the question is going to be, should you pay for clients? Should you pay for the opportunity to present in front of somebody so that you can set up this appointment? Now, the answer is yes, and the the obstacle presents when people can't quite figure out, well, what should I charge? What is the value of me setting up or coordinating this appointment? So that's what we're going to work on today, and we're going to show you, well, how you can quickly figure out if this is worth your time. You already probably know how much your time is worth, but when it comes to notary, you may be unsure. So we can give you a formula that you can use and you can quickly apply it. Assessing your time by value is a cornerstone to building an independent notary business of any kind. An independent notary business doesn't require or rely on third-party apps or signing services or title companies or anything that is providing or feeding us work. Independent notary business is going out and hunting. We cast the big net as wide as we can. Your city, your county, your state, your country, and anybody who comes into that net, we nab them. If anybody steps 1 foot across that line, they're ours. They belong to us. 100% closing rate. That's all we go for. Every person who calls is a client. That's the approach. No one gets away. Everybody gets to smoke. As Tiger likes to say. That's the business. It's not the job of the notary. That's the business of notary. The clients, the potential callers or the clients, potential clients, they're our clients every single time. What we're going to do is set up the parameters of where we're willing to go. Where are you? What's your location? Are you at the airport? Are you at the Blackbird Diner? Are you at the emergency room? Are you at your house? Your office? Gas station? Walmart? Hotel? And what you're willing to perform. We set up the parameters and they have to disqualify themselves. They're lucky and fortunate to work with us, not the other way around. And then you set up the parameters of where you're willing to go, what you're willing to perform, and then what you're willing to be compensated. Again, they called us, all right? We pay for the opportunity to be in front of them, and we're very grateful for that. But don't get it twisted. We're not calling them soliciting business. That's why I say we don't pass out business cards and we don't go to title companies. We don't go to real estate agents, and we don't go to people looking for work. They come to us. We set out the net, and then they come to us. We set up the parameters for where we work, and then we disqualify them, and it works. And the customers they're looking for this. This is what they want. He's trying to get this done. He's trying to get on a flight to Chicago so they can get this taken care of. He doesn't have time to play around. He even mentioned, I didn't have this recorded on the phone call, on the first phone call. I have it on the second one, but not the first one. But he talked about going to the UPS store. And people always say that, don't they? Oh, I'll just go to the UPS store. No, you won't. No, you won't. You got a flight to catch. Is the UPS store even open? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't open till 10. Let's get this done, sir. Why are we, what are we talking about? Why are we still playing around? Let's go. You got a flight to catch. Your siblings probably been calling you for the last 2 weeks to tell you, hey, Ronald, get this taken care of. Why haven't you signed this? It's been 2 weeks. Dad is almost going to be, dad is sick. He's trying to sell his house before he passes. Your names are on the deed. We can't sell the house, the property, while your name's on the deed. You know, that's what happens when you don't have a power of attorney, by the way. So I could have probably even pitched him on a power of attorney. So I should have did that, Tiger. You talk about those limited power of attorneys and why that's what that is, right? They're signing power of attorney so they can get his name taken off the deed or a quick claim deed. But you do that because you don't have a power of attorney. Maybe I'll call him back. So first, we have to understand the difference between a notary signing agent and a notary public. On the left side, the notary public. On the right side is the notary signing agent. The difference between a notary signing agent, who's somebody who primarily works in real estate, not exclusively, but for some reason, they hold real estate documents as the holy grail, as the superior product, the almighty loan document. And the reason why they do that is because the loan documents or the title companies, it gives them work. It gives them, a job, basically. But we know that's not true, right? We know that's not true. We know that the notary public, the independent entrepreneur, notary business owner, is by far the highest of the high. And it's not even close. And here's the reason why. The notary signing agent has a pay date. The notary public or the notary entrepreneur, they get paid in advance, up front, before anything's ever been done. The notary signing agent, they wait 2 weeks or maybe 41 days, if that. If the mortgage even closes, because not every single mortgage closes. Sometimes people change their mind, don't they? You saw the 6-bedroom house, but nah, you know what? I want the 3-bedroom house instead. So you change your mind. For some reason, the deal falls through. The lender didn't approve the final price, didn't pass inspections. You missed the cutoff date. The interest rate changed. I thought it was going to be 6.4%, but it's actually 7.9. For whatever reason, it changes. So the notary gets paid in advance. The notary signing agent, they have to wait until the deal closes, and hopefully it does. The notary signing agent, they don't have the opportunity to negotiate. They accept whatever is given to them, presented to them. It's $75 for the loan package, $65, $125, $200, $300, whatever it is. But they don't determine that rate. No, title company does. You either accept it or you don't, and that's okay. There's nothing bad about it, but it's very rigid. You can't. There's no room for negotiation. No Republic, however, systems based. Where are you? Okay, that's one factor. What time do you need it? Now? Right before you get on the plane? Okay, where are you? What time do you need it? And then, what type of document do you have? Is it mortgage or real estate related? Oh, is it a legal agreement? Okay. Oh, okay. Are you traveling with a minor out of the country? Okay. Do you need us to draft up the power of attorney? Okay. So it's systems based. We plug in what the customer actually needs. What are they asking for? What time do they need it? How soon do they need it? How many people are going to be there? It's systems based. And then we come up with the price. It's more flexibility. And then the notary signing agent is subject to someone else's terms. Everything is upon the customer's terms or, um, you know, whatever the title company or the third party app says. It's not on their terms. It's subject to someone else's. For example, but the notary signing agent, no, it's when we are available. We see appointments as early as 8 a.m. We see appointments as late as 8 p.m. We'll make exceptions, but those are on special terms, special hours and special circumstances. That's how they book appointments. That's both do the same. Notary signing agent, notary public, they both do the same thing, but when one side is a business, the other side is a job. Now, before we can book the appointments and before we can get the clients to agree to coordinate this meeting, it's important. And then we, determine if we can pay for clients and whether it makes sense. Come up with a price. Here's the equation: F divided by H equals P over 2. How many people went to calculus or trigonometry, geometry, algebra? You remember those days? By the way, I was talking to some of my athletes, and they were telling me how they studied business in college and they studied, science and all these things. And they were asking me, these are young kids, about they're like in their 20s, early 20s, 23, 24, 25, young kids. And I'm 39, full disclosure, by the way. And they were, one guy, he seriously asked me, he said, do you use any of that stuff? And I was always interested. Do you? I told him, no, I don't. I really don't. But I'm happy I took it. I'm happy I did it, but I haven't used any of that stuff. Anyway, that was a conversation about whether or not college is, relevant going forward and how long college is going to exist and before it gets replaced. It was a very interesting conversation that I had with him because he didn't finish college and now he's a professional athlete. So, you know how that goes. But he didn't have a college degree, and we were just having an honest conversation. It was fun. But I told him, no, I don't use. I did take calculus, but I don't use it now. But I'm happy I did because now I can come up with this type of stuff. So there is definitely some use for it, no question about that. Now here's a question. Here's a formula for coming up with a price. It's F divided by H equals P over 2. What does F mean? F is your freedom number. H is the hours of availability, and P is the price per hour. That's what we're looking for. It's called the price calculation formula. So let's figure out what F is. F is your freedom number. How do you determine your freedom number? You add up all your bills at the end of the month. These are bills that don't change. So what would be an example of a bill that doesn't change? Your mortgage, your rent, car payment, phone, utilities. I guess that can go up and down just slightly bit, but it doesn't change by very much. It's not drastic. But and then you also have to do it every month. So insurance, things like that. Let's just say, so something like entertainment or groceries, that would not apply. Something like you shopping for clothes or shoes, vacations, you would not factor that into your freedom number. You got that? So these are just bills that always come every month on time, same date, and you know it's coming. That's your freedom number. Let's say that number is $5,000. That's what you require minimum. And this number is not saying that it's a low number or a high number, but this number is, again, if you had, this is just the minimum amount of money that you would need to live, right? Every single month. This is required every single month. Subscriptions, you can throw that in there too. Subscriptions are pretty easy too because it's the same thing every month. All right. And then let's say you do it every other month or so, like my garbage bill, like the trash. It's not every month; it's every other month. But how would you factor that in? You would just add it up like bi-monthly, right? 6 months, and then you would split it down the middle for 12 months, so it would actually be lower. You just pay it every other month. You don't pay it every month, but you do pay it every month. It's not due every month, right? So don't let that get confused. I didn't learn that until I became a homeowner. And then your hours of availability. So let's say your freedom number is 5,000. Your hours of availability is not what is, it's the opposite of probably what you're thinking. So let's say you work 9 to 5. That means you work 40 hours a week, but that's, you don't count those hours because you're busy. You're counting the hours outside of your monthly or weekly obligations. All right. So the hours per week, that means if you work 9 to 5, that means you do not count those hours between 9 to 5. You count the hours outside. So let's say you open up at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when you see your earliest appointments. And by the way, just because you're not available, like, and this is why it's good to get coaching and come to these trainings, because these are the nuances. Just because you work 9 to 5 doesn't mean you can't book appointments between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock. No, not at all. You can book appointments anytime, anytime. That's why it's important that you hear positive messages. I always like to reinforce this, because people will say, well, my hours of availability is like from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock because that's when I'm not working. And I'm like, well, what if somebody called you at 11 a.m.? Are you going to turn them away? See, I see a lot of people who do that. They say, well, I'm not available right now, so I can't take it. Well, you just lost $150. And I've seen people do this. I've seen people turn down money right in front, like, of a live audience. I've been on people's lives, and they'll just like turn down money right there. And I'm like, and you're teaching people to turn down money? Like, that's the reason why they're here, to learn how to run this business, and you're teaching them how not to get business? It doesn't make sense. So let me, before I digress, I see I'm already off on a rant. I'm already off on a tangent. Because you work 9 to 5 does not mean you can't book appointments between those times. No, it just means that, like I said in the beginning, are you set up to provide what the customer loves? Are you set up to provide it? So you see appointments as early as 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever it is. Let's just go with 8 a.m., make it simple. And then you see appointments as late as 8 p.m. So you may not physically be able to go because you're occupied, you're busy, but your doors, so that 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, that's 1 hour. And then the 5 o'clock in the evening, the 5 o'clock to the 8 o'clock, that's 3 hours. So that means you have 4 hours in that day where you could technically run the appointment because you're not working, not between 9 to 5. So those 4 hours times 5, that's 20 hours, right? And then, so that's Monday through Friday. 4 times 5, 20, Monday through Friday. And then, I don't know, your hours on the weekend. Let's just say, you see appointments again from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 10 hours on Saturday, 10 hours on 20, or Saturday and Sunday. You have that time to go out and do appointments. But, let's say you volunteer on Saturday, you have a book club on Sunday, you have kids basketball from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, right? You have these obligations that you have to do, and you should do them because that's what makes you happy. But you're not available to run appointments. So if you're going to go grocery shopping, or you're going to go to the beach with your family on Saturday from 8 to 12, don't count those hours, right? You want to do the hours that are outside of your normal obligations. You work out on Saturday, every Saturday, you go to CrossFit. I don't know, man. Whatever you do in your life is none of my business. I just want you to continue doing what you love, continue doing what you enjoy, and let the notary business operate in the background continuously, nonstop. Anytime somebody wants an appointment or needs an appointment, you can help them. You don't necessarily have to go and do it, though, but you should be able to accept appointments and at least be able to direct traffic, so to speak. But let's just say that hours of availability is 40. All right. And that's usually what people typically have. It could be more depending on, where you are, and if you work full time or part time, or if you just do other stuff. You DJ, I don't know what the heck you do, but typically about 40 hours is typically is what people have. So you divide those two numbers, your freedom number and your hours of availability, and then that should give you your price per hour. So let's use our numbers. 5,000 is our freedom number. 40 hours is our available time. And then if you divide those, that gives us 125. 5,000 divided by 40 is 125. And then 63, you know how we got that number? You divide that P number by 2, which is 63. So that means you don't take appointments for less than $63. Now, the nuance here is because how long does an appointment last typically? About 10, 15 minutes, right? That's about as long as an appointment typically. But in reality, you have to drive to them. You have to park, you have to, sit in their house, you have to shake their hand, say hi to the cat, and then you have to get in your car and then you have to drive back home, right? That total time, it could be an hour, it could be more. It could be, 45 minutes total, depending on how efficient you are and how far do they live. But these are our parameters. We want to use that number in this example. That $63 is the lowest. We can't. It would not make sense for us to go low to go out and execute a notary appointment for less than $63. It would literally not be worth our time. It just wouldn't be worth it. So be okay with letting those low ballers, those people go. Be okay with that because it wasn't worth your time. You need $5,000 per month. That minimum. You calculated that number based on everything that you need in your life. You need that much, at least minimum. And then you only have 40 hours of available time. Your time is so precious and it's so valuable. You only have 40 of them because you got to go take the kids to basketball practice. And then you have to go to work. And then you have other stuff that you want to do that makes you happy, that gives you joy and pleasure. And then somebody wants to give you $2 for you to disrupt that. Like, no, that it doesn't make sense. So you're going to end up regretting and feeling resentful towards the business and then towards your customers, and you're going to be very reluctant to help that customer because they're not even giving you what you're worth or what it. Not it's not even what you deem to be worthy. It's literally what's worth your time. So you can't go out for less than $63. And that's just for half an hour. So let's say the person lived 5 minutes from your house and you can get there in 2 minutes. And then the appointment will take about 11 minutes. So you're all in 13, and then you got to drive back home another 2, 3 minutes, which is a lot of times can happen, right? You can take appointments that's only a fifth of a mile from your house. Possible. But you start at $125 because you don't know what's going to happen, right? How many times have you gotten to somebody's house and then they talk your ear off? Or you get to their house and then there's construction on the block and then you have to drive, there's a detour, you have to drive around the block and now you can't get into the house. You have to park around the corner, you have to walk because there's construction. Oh, by the way, it's 90 degrees outside too. Or you get to their apartment building and then they forgot to tell you that there's a gate code and now you have to stand outside for 15 minutes. You see, that 30 minutes, that half an hour that you anticipated can easily turn into 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and you didn't even expect it. So that's why we always start at 125. And then we have the downsell or we have that option, but we can't go lower than 63. It really wouldn't make sense in this example, right? But you plug in your own numbers and then you come up with that number yourself. All right, so let's give an example here. Is it worth it to pay for clients? That's our question. Is it worth it? All right, you be the judge. It could be, depending on your numbers. Your life isn't my life. My life isn't yours. So we can't you can't use these numbers and make an educated guess on on your life. You have to plug in your own numbers and then determine, is it worth it to pay for clients? It might be. I think it is. And if you don't, then allow me to try to convince you. Allow me to try to persuade you to say that, yeah, it is worth it to pay for clients and you should. So what you're looking at is what it costs to acquire a customer on thumbtack.com. Thumbtack is a pay per lead service. That means every time you get in front of somebody, you pay. And you have not gotten paid yet. So it's important that we pay to get in front of clients and then we hone or we work on our ability to get to acquire the client. It's already a known, we've accepted this. We know we have to pay to get in front of clients. That's the cost of this business. Again, the difference between the notary signing agent, the difference between the notary public. We pay to get in front of people. That's what advertising is. Coca-Cola does it, Pepsi does it, Procter & Gamble does it. 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 Does Walgreens does it. CVS does it. Nike, they pay to get in front of you. We're no different. We don't pay as much as them though. And then we have better overheads, but we have lower overhead and we have better margins because all we do is profit. So this is a great business. And I want to explain why you should pay to get in front of people. You should, or it might be worth it if you plug in your numbers correctly. It might be worth it. So here's what we pay to get in front of a client on Thumbtack. Now Thumbtack does something really nice because they'll sometimes give you a discount. Really cool. Normal price was $6.22. Not this time. It's $3.54. So we got a discount. This is a direct lead, and they call it a bonus. A direct lead happens when somebody reaches out specifically to you, directly to you. And you have to pay a little bit more when you do that. But they call it a bonus because this person only reached out to us, and then they cut us a break. They do this every now and then. All right, so let's use our formula. So we know that we're already in the hole, $3.54. We're in the red from the jump, but that's okay. We can dig ourselves out, can't we? Because we know math and we know our ability. We know that we know what the clients want. We do what they love, and then we're going to turn that into a profit. Let's see how this works. All right, so we're going to use that formula. We know our price per hour is $125. Minimum 63. So let's see. We're in the hole, $3.54. All right. Here's an example of a client. This is what Thumbtack looks like. Here's the interface on the inside. On September 3rd, we got a client who reached out to us. If you look over here underneath the big red bubble that says they're trying to serve their ex-wife at a retail business in downtown Half Moon Bay, it should take less than 5 minutes. It might. It might. If it does, then that's even great. That's a bonus if it does take less than 5 minutes, but it probably won't. And that's not really important, by the way. So, but I'm happy that they included that. It takes less than 5 minutes. People, you know why people say that? It should take less than 5 minutes. They say that because they're trying to minimum. Whether they're trying to do this intentionally or not sure. But my assumption is that they're trying to minimize. They're setting this up for the price. They're like, oh, well, that's too much. It should only take 5 minutes. No. Now, just for full disclosure and context, this was the very first process service I've ever done. This is the very first one. All right. Price is much different today. Let's just, I'll let you know that for sure. But this was the very first one that I did. And this guy reached out to try to serve an appointment. Serve his ex-wife with some documents. So here's the response that I gave him. And I'll never forget this. This was on a Saturday, and I literally made this on the spot. I was sitting on. I'll never forget this. I was on the couch and I was watching some Saturday afternoon movie with my wife, and it was what month was it? September, so it was still warm outside. I remember it was really, really sunny, really nice. Because when we drove over to Half Moon Bay, everybody was out there. Half Moon Bay is a beach community. If you guys don't know, it's basically a tourist destination. And there's like a lot of beaches there, and a lot of people go there because it's always nice and cool when it's warmer on the inland side. So you can drive over to the coast, and it's very nice. So I just remember there was people everywhere, and it was really busy. So here's the situation. The guy called and he says that he's trying to serve his ex-wife with some documents. I didn't know the full details. I didn't even know really what a process service actually entailed. I really didn't. But here's my response. I say, I'm happy to serve your ex-wife at a retail business for today at September 3rd. I'm saying exactly what he's requesting. I'm able to do that. The answer is always yes. Always yes. It's never a no. We never indicate that the answer is no. And then, I give them the rest of the response and I say, this is how we do it. Here's how you set the appointment. Email us if you have like documents that need to be printed or anything like that. Okay, he says, thanks, I can meet you there for the paperwork, so no need to print. I'm thinking the service will occur between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock this afternoon. I won't get confirmation until after 1 p.m. that she will be at the location. Will that work for you? Also, if you're able to do this, what is your fee? Thank you. So we're using our price formula to come up with a fee. Now we know what the minimum is, right? In order for us, we know that. So I live technically about 35 minutes away from this location. Because it's a busy day, it's a Saturday, I know it's not going to take me 35 minutes to get there. So I'm taking probably a little bit longer than that. Because again, keep in mind, this was the very first time I had ever done this. I really didn't know what it would entail, but I just know that it would be fast process service. I know if he knew her location was there, then I can just hand her the documents. I did understand that part. I had just never done it. So I quoted him at um, what was it? I think it was like $95, and we'll show us in a second. So I respond and I say, yeah, $95. Here it goes right here. I say, yes, 3:30 between 4 o'clock is fine. The fee is $95. Click here to if that time works for you. If you don't see the time, no problem. Complete the request form for the next available time. We'll update it manually. I'm just basically trying to get him to advance forward, accept the fee, and then move forward. And then also, when you move forward, you actually pay for it. That's how the appointment gets confirmed, right? The difference between a notary signing agent and notary public business owner, we get paid in advance. So nothing moves until the money moves. Here's his response. Thanks, I'll be in touch. So you can see this is actually, he says, I think she'll be there. Oh, I won't be able to know if she's there until after 1 o'clock. So we're actually negotiating and talking prior to that. He says, thanks, I'll be in touch once I have confirmation that my ex will be at the location. And I respond, excellent, looking forward to her update. And then he says, thanks, let's hope she's there. Excuse me. I then respond about 3 minutes later. You see where it says 12:17, and this was 12:40. Yeah, about 3 minutes later. I sent him another message. I should say, let's get this taken care of, man, because you said something about 1 o'clock. It's already 12:30, 12:17, and to be honest, I don't have a lot of time. It's a Saturday. If you don't want to do this, I'm not going to sit around. I'm going to do something else, right? Hours of availability. I'm going to do something else. But I'm thinking to myself, I can make this into a trip. I can make this into a lunch date with my wife. I can easily make this opportunity into a nice outing with my wife. I can take her, and I've done this plenty of times, by the way, where my wife will come with me and we'll just grab food. Like after we've done a trust document or something, or after we've updated somebody else, you know, we'll drive somewhere and then we'll get food afterwards. And that's her fee, by the way, just to go and take me out to lunch. Then she'll come with me, right? That's the fee. So I say, yeah, certainly. Let's get taken care of. Right. My recommendation would be to book the appointment. If she's not there, you can always cancel or reschedule using the confirmation email received. I like this line. I use this line to this day. Hey, man, just book the appointment. If something changes, just cancel it or reschedule it. But book it right now. Pay for it. And typically, when people pay for it, they don't reverse it. I've probably only gotten two ever refunds that I've ever had to issue ever. But this line is a really good line. I continuously This is like ace of my sleeve. I always use this line, and it works. Our appointments can book, and I try to encourage them a little more. Our appointments can book unexpectedly, so at the very least, you can reserve this time. You can always change your mind. Call if you have any questions. Always call, because if I call, if he talks to me, I can really close him. But the nice thing is that you can close appointments through text only. That's really cool. That's what Thumbtack allows you. So I paid $3.54 to have this person to get in front of them, and I'm trying to help them to advance them forward. He responds, "Okay, sounds good. I'm driving now, but I will book in about 20 minutes." Now, I was very confident in this one, and by this time, I had already started driving towards the coast. I was like that confident that I was going to book this appointment, and sure enough, I did. So here's the lady that I needed to book, that he needed to serve, because I asked him to send me a picture of her and what she looked like. And I asked him, would you have a picture of her available? And he said, yeah, I'll make sure to have a picture, a recent photo of her. And this is what he sent me. And that's really her. She looked just like that. And so he's like, you'll be able to notice her. She didn't cut her hair, nothing like that. That's her. Just a quick sidebar. This is his ex-wife. The night before, he had dinner with his adult daughter. The adult daughter did not know what the dad was going through. The daughter revealed that his wife, his ex-wife, or her mother, he told me this after the fact, by the way. He revealed all this information because he was so grateful and so thankful. He was like, man, you don't know. I've been trying to serve her for over a year. Couldn't find her. And then last night I was having dinner with my daughter, and she revealed that my ex-wife is in town. Basically, the daughter says, because the daughter didn't know about the whole situation, he says, oh yeah, mom's in town. He says, really? And the daughter didn't know that he was trying to serve her for the last year and a half. And the daughter basically gives up her mom, lets her know where she was staying. He says, man, you don't know. He was telling me this. He said, I just couldn't find her. The courts couldn't find her. She's done a great job of avoiding me. But the daughter let him know where she was. And he immediately said, I'm going to this is my opportunity. This is my chance. See, had I known that information beforehand, especially today, I would have definitely capitalized on that situation. But I didn't know that until afterwards. But that was grateful, good information, good intel. That's another picture of her that he sent me, and so I was able to identify her. And then I basically say, hey, to my wife, you want to go to Half Moon Bay, and that's basically what Half Moon Bay looks like. It's in the background, beautiful place. So I didn't know what I needed to do. He gave me the documents. I told him I would snap a photo just to confirm that she got it. I walk into she worked at an art gallery, and that's her. That's a real photo. I didn't know if I needed to take a picture or not, but I did. And you don't, if you've ever done process serving or if you ever plan to do it, you don't need to take a photo. But I did this anyway because this is my first time. I didn't know. I met the guy in the parking lot. He hands me the envelope and basically says, just give it to her. You don't have to, talk to her. The courts told me as long as I have proof that I served her, it's okay. So I say, okay, I'll take a picture. He says, good. I got it. So I walk in and basically her name was like Karen or something. Who knows? I don't remember. I basically says, hey, are you Karen? And she has a name tag, as you can see. And then she says, yeah. And then I say, hey, here, this is for you, special delivery. And then she grabs it. And then, I take a picture of her. and then, um, and then I walk out. And then I never turn back, but I can hear her screaming. Like you can see there's people in the background. And she's like going crazy inside of this art gallery. She's like, I don't want this. I don't want this. And I can hear the envelopes like throw on the, like she throws it and lands on the ground. I can hear everything. But I just walk out because she doesn't have to accept it. The fact that she got served, that's all the proof that he needs. All right. And so that's how that went. So what did I get paid? I got paid $95 for that whole transaction. Right. Was it worth it? Yeah, I guess it was. I paid for the experience of doing that because that is definitely not the price now, right? After all of that. But was it worth it? Was it worth it? I got a date with my wife, got some dinner, some lunch, and I paid $95. So that means I walked away with a profit of over $90 for the day, just to drive over to the beach and learn this new this service, and then this also let me know that this need is out there as well, and this is where my process serving service started. This is how it actually started. So, is it worth it to pay for clients? 100%. In this case, you build out the value. You let them know what it is that you can offer and how you can offer it and how you can deliver it, and then you price it accordingly. So now the process service is much higher now because I know what it entails and how much time it can take. And here's another example of is it worth it to pay for clients? And this is an example of a Google ad that is targeted for hospitals. In the previous example, we used Thumbtack. In this case, we're using the web or Google. The previous example, we went to Half Moon Bay, which is about half an hour from my house. And in this example, we're going to a hospital, which is also about half an hour from my house as well. And the previous example, we paid $3.54 and we netted about $90 overall. In this case, we earned $229, but what did we pay? So we earned $90 in the previous example with Thumbtack. In this case, this is with Google, another paid advertising platform. We earned $229, but what did we pay? All right, so let's compare. In this case, we paid, and this is December 8th. All right, this is one day. We got 347 impressions. That's how many people put eyes. This is how many people we got in front of. In Thumbtack, we only got in front of one person. One shot, $3.54 for one set of eyes. In this case, we paid for the day, we paid $16.47 to get in front of 347 sets of eyes. And each one of those eyes, 9 of those people clicked on this particular ad, which is this ad here, this 355-star ad, 5-star ads. So 9 people clicked on that ad in one day, and each time somebody clicks on it, it's $1.83. So in Thumbtack, we paid $3.54 for one set of eyes, and then in Google's case, we paid $1.83 for 9 sets of eyes. All right, so far so good. So $1.83 versus $3.54. I think Google's a better deal in this case. So, and then we got paid $229 for $1.80. Well, we actually paid $16.47 for the day, but that only produced one appointment in this one day. Yeah, I'm not going to confuse that. Yeah, I might have had more appointments that day, but let's just say that I did not. Let's say I only had one appointment this one day, and that one appointment was $1.83, and it produced $229. So that means we walked away with over $226 of profit that one day. And I may not have ran this appointment. I don't think I did. I don't remember exactly, but I probably did not. So that means I probably paid somebody $50 to go run this appointment, or up to 75. I know I didn't pay him over $75. So let's just assume that I paid him $75. We're gonna highball it. So let's go 220. Let's just round it off. 200. Let's say $225, even though I know it's a little bit more. And then let's take off $75. So that's $150 of profit right there. 150. We pay $1.83, and then we walk away with $150 versus paying $3.54 on Thumbtack and then walking away with 90. Is it worth it to pay for clients? In this case, yeah. I would say yeah. I would say yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about key takeaways. The range for your time. In this case, in this example, is $65 at the minimum, and $125 is probably about average. So we walked away with $150 of profit, which was really good. And we didn't even leave the house. We just basically set up our net, which is the advertisement. A fish got into the net, we nabbed them, and then we outsourced the appointment and sent a note to Notary to execute the assignment. So we helped somebody else get some experience, and we helped give someone else a job, and we also was able to help ourselves as well. And then for the Thumbtack appointment, the first one, I basically charged them for my Saturday. That was it, because if you remember, before the person reached out, before the guy reached out, I was sitting on the couch. I was just at home watching television, and we were probably just hanging out, me and my wife. And then, out of nowhere, lo and behold, somebody has an emergency. Oh, my ex-wife is in town. Here's my opportunity to serve her with these documents. I've been trying to find her for the last year and a half. Urgency. And then we can satisfy the request. And then all I did was charge them $95 to go out and then do this. And then it was a great day, great experience. Lastly, this is a key takeaway, and I think this applies to everything. Sales call training is a must. You just heard me take a phone call with a guy on a phone from the airport. Where are you in the airport? Black Bear Diner. I'm next to the urgent care. Pops is selling the house. I'm on the deed. Got to get off of it. I'm thinking about going to UPS store, but how much do you charge? Right? Sales call training is a must. That applies to everything. This is really, do you need the automation? Do you need all the technology and gadgets and stuff? No, no, not really. You can live without it. It makes life so much easier though. Up, and there he goes. He's done, completed. Yep, there he goes. So I'll just ask him, how did it go? And then he'll say, went well, and then I'll pay him. So sales call training is a must. Number one. My question is, if you have any questions, definitely let me know. If you want to challenge me on anything, please do, because I think anything worthwhile should be challenged and it should stand up to scrutiny. So feel free to ask any questions, but I want to leave you with this. Do what the customers love, the money will follow. Never chase the money, never chase the price. It's not about that. It's really just fulfilling what the customer is requesting. Everything is going to be a little bit different. Every situation, every circumstance, always a little bit different. But the one thing that doesn't change is they need a signature, they need a stamp. That will always remain the same. If you can individualize the customer experience, make them feel heard. I need to serve my ex-wife because she's been invading me for the last year and a half. Can you help me out? Yes, we can come to exactly where you are. We can, I know that you don't like this woman or you don't get along with her or you've been trying to, so I'm going to help you get this done, right? You individualize it for them. Oh, I know that you have a dad who's getting ready to sell his house and, you're on a deed with your siblings and the other siblings, they're all over the country. They've already signed. They've already done their parts. You waited till the last minute for you to get on the airport. You're at the airport for God's sakes, and you're trying to get this done. So I know you're last minute. So yeah, we can meet you at the Blackbird Diner or at the urgent care next door. We'll come there in the next 15 minutes. Sure. Individualize the customer experience. They really appreciate that. So as you all know, because you guys are paid subscribers to the BrainBox, this is the link to set up your one-on-one coaching call. So if you have any questions, we can go over your specific circumstance. Whether or not it's worth it to pay for clients, we can figure out your price per hour, and we can determine whether or not you should be paid using paid advertising. You already know my answer. It's going to be yes. It's not an absolute. You don't have to do it, but it gives you. But is it worth it? Is it worth it? It might be. Take a good look at it. Let's break it down. There's always recordings of these sessions inside of the BrainBox. But if you want that specialized individual attention, please use the link. And then, so let's get you going. All right. Any questions at all?